things to do now that you're done. All right, Paul. So here it is. You just took the test. How did it go? Walk me through it, man.
All right. I guess it was like I just talked to you on the phone. It was like I think I was your classes and the phone calls and the one view and just the tests really prepared me for this test. I really think I don't know how well I scored because it just sends you it just says, hey, you passed, but that's like enough. I'm super high right now that I even got that screenshot. So I got to wait a couple of days to see how good I did. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I passed. I did it completely at home here where I've been studying. I think this is like familiar. This is a good place to do it. I didn't have any problems, no issues, no hiccups.
That's awesome.
And it was as hard as I think the questions, your questions prepared me for these questions. They were harder. The questions that we answer in your program are a little bit longer. They make you think through things. These were a little more upfront, less complex, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But right now I'm just super excited. I got about 10 minutes for my family.
Yeah, no problem. We'll be right through it, dude. This is the fastest interview ever. So cool. So everybody's got a little bit of story for the PMP. Give us a short version. Like, what was the ramp up to get here? Was it always just great, or how did it go? How did you get to this point?
So I'm active duty Air Force. I've been in for about 23 years, and I'm kind of trying to prepare for retirement.
Yeah.
And PMP has always been like, when you talk to guys in the Air Force, they're like, oh, or military period, it's like, get your PMP, get your PMP. You do these things, you should get it. So I remember the first time I was in a transition assistance workshop in Japan, and the girl at my table was like, yeah, you should get it. I just did a course. And the next day I said, hey, bring me in the book. So she brings me in the PM book. It was, thick. You've seen it. Yeah. I'll tell you this, that is the one and only time I've ever seen that book. I've never opened it. A soft copy, a hard copy, I've never, ever, ever opened it, read a page of it. So I did like a Syracuse offered a military program. I did that to get my 35 hours, which was somewhat helpful but dry. Then I read through the Head First PMP book 3 or 4 times. I read through, How to Pass on Your First Time.
Yeah.
And neither of those things helped, neither of them. Yeah. If anything, it rattled my confidence so much so that I stepped down and did the associate PMP.
Oh, man.
In quarantine. And I passed that one day home from work, like working a 13-hour shift. I heard your podcast. And you're like, hey, call me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I called you. You didn't pick up, but you called me like 2 minutes later. You're like, what's up, dude? You basically asked me what you're asking me now. Tell me your story. Like, where have you been? Where do you want to go? And we'll get you there. And I started your program from that point forward, maybe took 5 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
And I passed. I learned more in that 5 weeks than I learned in the last 6 months of reading those thick, boring books.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's really great. I'm a little sad that you won't be on the call tonight, but it's totally cool. You'll be going there anyway. So that's cool. So, you went through, a ton of people are like you, military guys getting out, need to get the stuff, going through the stuff and kind of like not knowing any better, just kind of beating your head against the wall. What about, the program helped you out? Like what made a difference? Like how did it work?
I think from a military standpoint, we have the discipline and we have the drive and we have the want and the need, that accompanied with your, like, you're strict as far as, hey, this is what you need to get done, but it's a 7-day program. You don't necessarily have to do it in 7 days. This is what you need to get done. Get on the conference calls. Military guys are good at taking something and running with it, right?
Yeah.
If you give us enough flexibility. So I think this program in particular is good for someone that's a self-starter. But on the other side of the coin, it's like your support calls are there. So whenever you feel guilty, because I think we're used to sort of doing a good job of what we do, especially when you've been in for as long as I've been.
Yeah, man.
You promote through the ranks and you do things and and you make rank. But the PMP is just like, wow, you really have to know this stuff. And you need a good program and good, you need a good coach and a good program just to get through it. And I think your program was exactly what I needed and many other people were.
That's awesome, man. And so like we went through tons of questions and, I could see your evolution in pulling it together and you like kind of went at it. Like you never missed it. You went through there. Was there anything that changed, like as you started to see questions differently? Like how would you recommend somebody approach questions or how do you think through questions? Everyone always asks me that. Like, how do you think through questions?
I think the way you explained it on this in the 7 day course, the accelerator, is good. At first, where are you at? Parachute down into there. Look forwards, look backwards, see where you're at. Don't memorize. Don't try to. Here behind my desk, I had a massive processes printed off. My wife had it printed off for me. I laminated it and everything. And the more I looked at it, the more confused I was. So eventually I just took it down.
Nice.
And you just have to make sense of it, right? And with the questions in particular, you're spot on by reading the question first and then go up and read it again slowly and methodically. It took me over 3 hours to take the test. And I'm usually like a super fast test taker. So you showed me to sort of slow down, take your time. And the more phone calls you go through and the more you hear the folks that have been there for a while answering questions, you introduce them on the calls, you're like, oh, hey, you start, you kind of listen to them and the way they answer questions. And then you look at someone that has just joined and they're like kind of struggling. So really, it makes you want to get where those folks are that have been there for a while and sort of bring the folks up that are sort of behind you.
Yeah, I think that's cool because I've seen you on both sides of the fence, like being like, oh God, and then like being one of those guys that's like, I think I know it, I think I got it, and like kind of the thing I really dig is the community. It almost feels like it's like a round table, like everybody's there, just like it's not, oh, you got it wrong, you got it right. It's leaning in together. So I like what you said. And I think that's like a big part of it. It's like that community stuff and kind of egging each other on. So
and then there's a chat group. You can always get in there and chat, and you're in there half the time, and other instructors are in there, and if you're having any nagging, like one of my things I did, I made, you recommend the evaporating data dump, and I made one of those about 4 weeks ago, and I pretty much got rid of everything that was on it.
Nice.
But about 3 days ago, I started second guessing myself, and I'm like, man, because I didn't do too good on one of these exams. I'm like, I'm going to do it again. So I pulled out another piece of paper and wrote down 6 or 7 other things. And I sort of located most of them, but then I went into that chat group, and your other coach is in there. I can't. Sandy's in there, and she's like,
amazing.
This is where the configuration management plan is. This is where the change management plan is. These are things that, and so she is amazing. I think you and her and all the coaches, you guys make an amazing team.
I appreciate it, man. So, I mean, you're now, you got your evenings back, which is nice. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the free time, man?
I have no idea. So we just moved.
Yeah.
So I was in Taiwan, and we moved to Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. And we got a new house, and I got a new job. I've got 3 kids, and my wife's studying for her teacher's license here in Virginia. So I'll probably cut her some slack now, right? And take care.
There you go. Pay it back a little bit.
Well, that is awesome. It's so good to have it back.
I know, and it's so good that you did well. I know you got to go to dinner, and I know we just want to jump on for a minute. So, if there's anybody out there that's like you, who's like, oh man, Paul's like me, like sounds like me. What would you recommend to them? Like if they want to take advantage and be in your spot, like what would be the steps that they follow? How would they think about things? Like what would be your recommendation?
I think that, not to be a sales pitch for your program, but you pretty much answer all that stuff, and it's free, until you really decide to pull the trigger. So I think they should just come and try out your program.
Yeah.
If it works for them, which I'm 90% it will.
Yeah.
Again, it has that drive. It motivates the calls, and then you've got a massive amount of information online. Yeah. And as you whittle through that, you pick up things, and it just makes it a fun way of learning a not at times not so fun subject, right? So that's what I would recommend. These books that I tried, I've got them sitting here next to me just so I can remember the name of them. I've already forgotten.
Yeah, there you go.
They're worthless. I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn them. I'm gonna go make s'mores tonight.
Yeah, there you go. You can burn them.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, Paul, I think that's amazing, dude. That's really good, and I'm glad that things are going well for you. And I'm glad you get to take some time off and actually, pay it back to the family. So, anything else I can do to help you, let me know, and we'll stay in touch. And we'll have more programs and stuff. So we'll get you involved. And
awesome.
Really proud to have you.
Thanks to you.
Good job, dude.
Scott. I appreciate it. Thanks for all you do.
Yes, sir. See you soon. Bye.